What's your favorite privilege?
Freedom of speech is probably my favorite privilege. That's not a small privilege though, that's a big one.
Is it all screen printed or is there a mixed medium with this print? Did you use any photo motion?
It's a screen print. All of the posters that I do are screen prints. There's an illustrated component to this in the architectural elements of the sign, and then the rest of the layout, the typography, and the really graphic lines are done digitally after scanning the illustration of the sign.
What point are you trying to get across to the viewer?
This print is inspired partially by the movie They Live and concepts that I think are in a lot of Orwell's work, but it's really about how when people feel like they need to keep up with the arc of trends in culture, of whatever the latest fashions, products, things that people need to consume, worried about the smaller things that you can partake in capitalism to achieve status, at least symbolically. That a lot of times people are too caught up in that to notice the manipulations that go on, whether it's corporations affecting what's going on in legislation and government, or or any number of other smaller things that are more insidious and less obvious. With what's going on right now with Wall Street, I think getting away with a lot, that making huge amounts of money and then taking risks that then harm the public. The public just hears the rhetoric about corporate welfare or problems with not being able to get loans, but they're not really looking at all the different parts of the equation. And I think that the problem is that a very small number of people are influencing how everyone looks at the way that business and capitalism work. But the great thing is, with this Occupy Wall Street movement, I think the 99% of people that aren't power brokers are trying to say that their interests and their voices should be dealt with.
Sure. Now, you just mentioned Occupy Wall Street campaign. Do you believe it will make any change in the current protest and so forth?
I think every action makes a difference. Whether it will lead to immediate change or not, I don't know. But the tipping point for a movement, you never know when that's going to be achieved, when it's going to achieve a critical mass. And so it's really important to just continue to apply the pressure in the direction that you think things should go, because you never know when all of a sudden people are going to take note, or more people are going to join in, or the powers that be will say, wow, there's something brewing here that we don't want to be on the wrong side of. And so I think every time someone uses whatever powers they have, their voice, how they spend their money, how they vote, it's all extremely important to creating a really thriving, flourishing democracy.
Sure.
Who's your favorite street artist, Shepard?
There are a lot of street artists I like. I think an obvious answer would be Banksy, because I like the simplicity of his images. I like his sense of humor. I like his politics. I think his work's very clever. But I like Swoon a lot, because I think that she makes images that are a beautiful representation of the disenfranchised in society, but it doesn't feel condescending, it feels empowering. I like Neckface because he's doing graffiti with a spray can, but it doesn't utilize any of this sort of orthodoxy or rules of graffiti. He's a rule breaker. There's a ton of people out there that I think are doing good work. JR, he's going huge. He's making pieces that completely change the landscape because of the scale. So they're engaging with the scale, with the subject matter. He's empowering his subjects, taking photos of people and making them huge, people that normally maybe would be overlooked. So his work is very ambitious, and I think is engaging on several levels.
Cool. Where are these small villages based?
Small villages. Well, that's very funny. Hey, the interesting thing about the concept of villages, McLuhan came up with the idea of the global village, that now with the technology that we have, everybody's connected. But I do think that sometimes people feel very, very isolated and powerless, but really there is no such thing as as complete isolation or being in a small village. I'm from South Carolina, and I thought, well, I'll never be able to make waves in culture because I'm from a place that's that's not a cultural hub. But it's now possible to put something out there online, grab a flight on Southwest, do whatever you need to do to make the world your village.
Right on. Thank you. Talk about that one already.
Why the emphasis on architecture this year?
I think that the way people navigate spaces is something that they don't think about that much, but there's a lot of control that goes into how a subway is designed, how a shopping district is designed. A lot of buildings are designed to be impressive and possibly intimidating. When you look at the design of government buildings or currency, there's a certain authority in the design that I think is designed to amplify the authority of the powers behind that design. And I think that utilizing that visually can be really powerful, but hopefully also can make people a little bit more aware of the dynamics at play there. I also am a big fan of Ed Ruscha's work, he's used a lot of architecture, standard station, and various other things that he's done with signage and architecture. I think graphically it's very appealing, but my taste in imagery is all over the place.
Can we paste a bunch of these up on Wall Street?
I did paste up some of the Reagan and Friends series on Wall Street when I was in New York over the summer. I just happened to be a little ahead of the curve on the Occupy Wall Street thing. The legislative influence for sale image and the corporate violence for sale image were both put up down in the Wall Street area. And I wish I had all the time in the world to just jump on a plane and go out there, but I'm extremely overcommitted on projects right now. But anybody that's looking for materials to paste up on Wall Street, I can make a file of this available, or I can make a file of some of those other images available. I'd love to see this stuff used that way.
Awesome. Thank you.